Hi there, this is Daniel with End Time Country Living, and on this video I am out getting my simple pump installed so I can have water if the electricity goes out, and just wanted to bring you guys along and show you the experience of what it's like to install one. There's also a pipe here with a wee pole. Designated by red label that says wee pole, so that will be the last pipe. Okay, this has the well top here. Okay, it looks like that's the right size. Okay, so we got the little spacers in here. There's 4 of them, and I have 4 pipes, so that's good. So I'm taking out the plug for the hole where the electric pump's water pipe comes out. And now I'm disconnecting the electric pump water pipe. I'm loosening the bolts that hold the current well cap on. I'm lifting the pipe out for the electric pump. First part is to remove the old well cap along with it. Already disconnected the electrical wires from the breaker box inside the shed. I'm just lifting out the entire pipe with the electric pump attached at the bottom. This is around 50 feet long. It's quite heavy, but not unmanageable by one person. So I'm not actually going to remove the electric pump. I just need to work on the top of the current well cap and swap the well caps over. We have a lot of iron in our water, and that collects on the inside of the well casing as well as on the PVC pipe that I'm pulling out. So it's quite rusty. Though it's not actual iron that's come off the inside of the well housing or anything like that. It's just from the water. It kind of collects on the pipe there. You can see that my hands are all covered in rust. I'm trying to disconnect the pipe there. Put that pipe through the new well cap. Praise the Lord. Okay. It's coming off. Getting a bit dirty, but that's what jugs of water are for. You just have to plan those. If things get dirty, how are you going to clean them without running water? You don't. You have to use bottled water. Okay, so I was able to find some 1-inch PVC Schedule 40 fittings here. I think will work as a temporary solution until I maybe get some Schedule 80 or something a little bit stronger. Maybe some metal. We'll have to do some searching and see what's the strongest material, what can handle frozen water in it the best. But this will tide us over for a few months. So I was able to find a female adapter here, so 1-inch threads which will attach to my Schedule 80 pipe that's coming out of the well there, and this is a smooth fitting here, so I can do a short pipe between this, and this is a 1-inch elbow, and then this is a smooth fitting on this end, and additional pipe threads on this side, so I'll glue that on there, glue this up, and this will be my metal replacement that I can't get apart at the moment here. And I'll try one more time, but this will be a nice solution here that I can, my brass fitting on the end of my PEX pipe that comes out of the pressure tank can screw onto this. Okay, I got my PVC fitting created here. I think it'll work. I'm going to stick that stainless steel band around here. It's just kind of, it's fitting real tight, but not tight enough that I think it's going to hold. So this will keep it from falling down past. So the idea is to, goes in this little hole here. So it's just, if I push hard enough, it'll go down through there. So anyway, we'll attach the PVC pipe here. So let's get this on here. Okay. Then this goes on here. So now this black plug that I'm screwing back in, I'm figuring out a way to get the wire through it, so I had to take it out and drill a hole through it, and now I'm punching the wires up through it. Okay, and I'm sliding the electric pump and the pipe back down in there. Now that I have the new well cap attached to it. And now these are the bolts that will hold that cap on securely. So I'm just loosening it up so I can adjust the pipe, the PVC pipe that's coming out, so it lines up perfectly with the PEX pipe and the fitting. Getting the electrical put back together. So there is some threads where the first pipe gets screwed into. And this is where the rods get attached to. So I'm going to attach it here. So there shouldn't be any Teflon tape needed here, just on the pipes. So this needs to be all the way. Down on that. And snug it up. Got it. Okay. Desirable. Alright, so this thread there. Okay. Oh, good enough. Well, it sits on top nicely. So we get to go down the hole. It's just not quite. It's not. Okay, so this side one here. Let's try that. Aha, that can open up a little bit more. Vaseline can help. Sits on there like that. Okay. And it's supposed to be about 5 inches sticking out. bottom one from rotating. Top one can turn. I'm going to unscrew it down the bottom, that would be bad. Okay. Found that it's easier to just keep this push rods in the PVC pipes and attach them with the pipe already over the top rather than try to do them separately. Fine, didn't hit anything yet down there. Yeah, get that in there. See if she can watch the video. Okay, that's tight. There's a rubber O-ring in the well cap. So I'm putting some Vaseline on there in order to allow it to slide over it and form a good seal. All right, so I finally got the well head put in. Okay, so I was able to finish putting the top of the well pump together here. So I got all the fittings put on. This is a little check valve with a pressure gauge on here. So you can tell how much back pressure is being put out when you hook this up to a pressure tank. This has a little garden hose fitting on here, which is really nice. So it allows me to attach a hose on here and attach that up the other end to a hose bib on the other side, which goes directly into my pressure tank. These pins here are really nice. They have a little spring on the little retainer on here. So you can push that in real easily and back the pin out. And when you slide it back in, it snaps into place. And they hold really tight in there. They have some brass washers on either side. So those are wear points for the pump. So if you were wearing through them, you could replace them and not wear on the aluminum. That's on either side here. It's part of the handle and the mechanism. So you may want to remove the handle if it's in the way, if you wanted to put a little bit of a well house over the top of it or protection. And you want to keep the handle in the upright position so this piston stays clean. So if we had it down in here, all this would get dirty over time. So you want to keep it in as clean as possible, so you want to keep the handle in the upright position. But since that creates a lot of extra height, and you may not have that in order to cover this up, you can take the handle off and store that inside, and then protects the pump from tampering as well, since you wouldn't be able to operate the pump without the handle. So this is the 2-foot handle for the simple pump. Has a very nice ABS plastic handle on there, so it can stay out in the weather and not deteriorate. And it has nice grip on there, nice texture. It's a little bit floppy side to side, but it doesn't get in the way of maneuvering it. That allows it to not be so stiff when you're moving it as well. So there's kind of a compromise between having it too tight, too close to tolerances, and having it easy to operate. So let's see how easy this is to operate here. So let's give the bolts in here, and the plug on the check valve here gives a little bit of a place for a bucket to hang on there. Doesn't really hang off this area here. Need some kind of little spike. It would be nice if it had a little hook coming up there, like some of the old cast iron pump heads would have, but that would be a very specialty piece. And so it works well enough to keep it back here. So this could be used for, drinking water, You could also use it for flushing your toilets if you wanted to go in there and fill up a bucket and then go dump the bucket into the toilet in the bowl there, and that would allow you to flush your toilets nicely, or anything else you need water for in the house, just for washing dishes or something like that. So this the pump itself is down at the bottom of the pipes there. I have 4 sections of pipes, and so that gives me about 44 feet down is where it's sucking water from. And my static water level in this well is about 40 feet. And my electric pump that's also down there still, that is at about 50 feet. And so it seems to be working fairly well here. I have it all insulated here. You can see how it works quite easily to pump it when it's just going into a bucket. So you get a fair amount of water coming up each time. Depends on, there's several different sizes of pumps that are down in the bottom there that you can get diameter wise. I have a 4-inch well casing, which I'm not pleased with, that the owners decided to put that size in. It would be nice if they would have done a standard 6-inch, but that's what they decided to do. So I can't put in my pump that's down in the bottom there of the pipes. That's a lot smaller diameter than it could be, so I don't get as much water out in one pump as you might if you had a bigger cylinder down the bottom there. So we got some nice clean water that it was able to pump up there. This isn't the brand new bucket or anything like that. This is just one I use outside here. It's been washed up, but so I wouldn't use this for drinking, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Bucket works fine for that, or for going watering plants, or watering animals, or flushing toilets and things like that. So for frost protection, I wanted to protect all the fittings that are inside here. And so I put this bag over here. Let me show you what I have in here. So I just have a little baling twine around here. So it goes around the collar here just to protect, keep that from the rain coming out. Okay, so we got that off. And then I just have a little short piece around here to tighten that up. So this outer bag here is just for water protection and rain protection. So that can come off here. So I basically just used an old salt bag and put a slit in here, make that then wrap around here, so that when it rains it's not going to get down inside. And the baling twine is to hold that on from the wind and things like that, hold that in place. Then the main insulating part here, which is I wanted to protect the PVC pipe in there. So you can see that is down there inside. So I got the PVC in here. So that's the part that's most vulnerable here. This is going to drain out through the weep hole in the first pipe down there, about 8 feet or so. And so that'll protect this part of the mechanism and the pipes from getting frozen here. But this is going to contain water all the time. So during freezing temperatures, I wanted to insulate that. Really good insulator is wood shavings or newspaper, something like that. Wood fibers actually do actually better than fiberglass as far as the R value in them. So all I did was take a feed sack, take a bunch of dry chainsaw shavings. So I just went through, collected them after doing some chainsaw work, filled up the bag and folded it in half here and wrapped it over the top, and then took some baling twine and tied it on there so it wouldn't fall off. and that allows it to give nice, good insulation for this area in here. And then I have foam insulation on the pipes over here. So I can just put this bag back over the top here. So just a slit. So that's about 7 inches long slit there. So that's just there. I tighten that up there, and then I can wrap one side around and the other side. So that makes a tight fitting there, and then I can take my baling twine here. Don't need to do this more than once, otherwise I tie off the ends here, but keep them from fraying. But just tighten that up. Just like that, and that keeps that all dry. And then this can be tucked in here, pulled in. Okay, so that's now kind of floppy, so then we need another piece of baling twine. So we'll start this end here, wrap it around, and we'll tie that off here. Make a slip knot here would probably be best. Well, you can cinch it up here, tucking it around here. And then we can go back around. And then back around the front here. So we tuck this all in here. Like that. Then we can go around and tie it off here. Cinch that up, and that keeps that from blowing off or falling off. Just like that. And now we have a watertight insulator in here. So one of the benefits of the Simple Pump is that you can hook it up to a hose bib on either your house or your well pump, and you can pump up pressure, and it pushes water back into your pressure tank. And that's convenient because then you don't have to carry buckets of water into the house to use them. You can simply turn the faucet on in the house and the water will come in the way it normally would. And so basically you're replacing your electric pump with a hand pump. When there's no electricity, you're just using the hand pump to pump up the pressure tank, and it all works the same as it always did. And so that's really convenient to be able to wash hands, especially, or washing dishes, to be able to have that quick faucet on and off when you need it. Obviously you have to be kind of careful because otherwise you're out here pumping a lot. For bigger things like toilets, flushing, I just come out here with a bucket because the force needed is much less when you do it when it's just an open pipe out here to dump the water into a bucket than it is to try to put that extra push effort to pump up the pressure tank, because you got this back pressure, and so takes a lot more energy to put out the same amount of water, as it were. It took me about a half an hour worth of time out here, so it's you have to find an audiobook or something to listen to out here. Or music or something while you're out here pumping. So it is time consuming. It's gets a little bit laborious just out here doing it repeatedly, but it is very convenient to have that in the house. So let's hook up a garden hose from the pump over to a hose bib, and I'll show you the little trick to get that to work well. Okay, so you want to start with the male end of the hose, and you want to thread that into this hose fitting. So you want to just place it in there, and now we want to do a clockwise motion this way. So like so, looking from the bottom up, it would be clockwise. Okay, so once that's in there, then we can go ahead and take the hose around to the other side. So this is going to be kind of all twisted up after you twisted into the pump there. So we just want to take the bunch here and spin it around clockwise a little bit to unwind it here. Then we can take it over to this side over here. I have a nice 25er that I used previously and it's just disappeared on me, so I have to use this 50-footer. And taking it down a little bit, it don't leak. So then we open the valve here. It's going to run water back down and pressurize the system here. Okay, so then we can go ahead and add some pressure. Pump it up. The gauge here shows the amount of pressure that the pressure tank has. I found when doing this, 2 hands makes the job a lot easier. So one arm doesn't get tired and you have to switch to the other. Consistently use 2, it's a lot less effort. And I can't go down. There's some interference where I can't drop this any lower. This is a bit high, so I have this cement block here that I can stand on to give me a little extra height, or if someone's shorter. It makes it easier to push down than it is to reach up to pull it down. So makes the job a little easier. So if it's warm enough weather, it's not going to freeze at night, you can just leave the hose hooked up, and you can, if you have several days of power outage, you can go ahead and just leave things hooked up. If it's going to freeze at night, it's a good idea to just turn off the valves and disconnect everything. That's what I did when we had a power outage when it was snowy out. So shut the valve off here. And it's also probably a good idea if I have a valve this is just PVC here sticking out, because I didn't want to frost. I wanted a lot of pressure during the summertime, and so during the wintertime I hit the valves back in there, and I can inside the shed, and I can just shut it off back in there manually. So then take my wrench here. It's going to spray a little bit, but it'll let up here in a second. Disconnect the hose here. You don't want to put the coil right here because you want to have room to undo this here. You may need a wrench or something like that, but let's see. So we want to go counterclockwise. Usually you can get it going here. There's nothing that rotates in this part of the hose, so it's got to be the hose having some leeway to rotate. But it doesn't take too many turns to get it off. So also, you either need to put this hose, if it's going to have water in it, which still has water in it, into an insulated building that isn't going to freeze, so that you can pull it out again and reuse it. Or if you can't do that or don't want to, you need to drain it if you want to leave it outside where it might freeze, or in a garage or something. Because if you get ice in this, then you can't use the hose, and you got to go find another hose or something like that. So take care of your hose to make sure it's not going to freeze solid in there, and then you have to spend a couple hours thawing it out somehow, bringing it in the house and put it in the bathtub or something and let it thaw out slowly, or put it by the wood stove with both ends in a bucket or something like that. So anyway, let me show you quick how to drain a hose. So the first step is to unroll it here, get it all laid out. It can be a flat surface or a hilly surface here. Try to get all the kinks out of there, any knots that might got it produced by twisting it. And you are putting it on the pump. Okay, and then take one end here, and you want to face the rest of the hose here, and you want to throw that over your shoulder. Let that hit the ground. So then you want to lift up as high as you can with one arm and lift up the other arm. Walk towards the other end, and that will, all the water that's in this area will drain down and out. Then you can go ahead and coil it up from there. So it's best to use a over-under approach, as in the coiling you want to flip it underneath on one roll and then over the top on the other, and then back around the other way. That keeps it from getting all twisted up. So you have a nice roll of hose. When you come down, and you can easily pull it off. You can throw the hose, such as, and it doesn't get all tangled up. So that's a helpful little tip there. Looks like up close is you also want to be grabbing the hose and twisting it so it wants to go naturally in this area. So there's the normal forward twist in there, and then you want to grab the hose, bring it up, and you want to pull it up towards the middle there. Okay, so now it's coming out like that on the inside, not on the outside. Okay, and then we grab the hose and twist it again a little bit to get it to go forward. So it comes out on the outside, and again, put your hand, so you want to grab the hose on the inside with your hand facing, the fingers facing out, and pull it up. Okay, and then it's best to keep your loops the same size there. Just give a little twist up to get it to go. You can also grab it this way. You can also grab it this way as well and twist it up and flip your hand over. There's different ways to do it, whatever feels comfortable for you. So you want to just be able to have it loose like this and not have it all squirrely or doing bad stuff. So then you want to always leave a little extra here dangling, so that they don't flop over and fall like that. And you have a dangling hose, so you want to be able to have them dangle just enough off the ground so when you carry it, they're not going to fall off the edge. They're going to have enough weight down there to do that. And then, so here's one of the short little ropes I've made for tying up hoses and hanging them up in my shed on a screw or nail in the rafters. So you take your bundle of hose here, put that between your legs or something, and so you just need it short enough or long enough to be able to go through here like so. You can decide, yeah, so we usually have the bigger side around the hose, bigger loop. And then once you tighten it down, then you have about this much, and then you can hang it up in the rafters and keep it out of the way, or up on the wall or something like that. That makes a nice way to keep it contained. So when you think about preparing for your water needs for the future, either for power outages that may be extended, or if you have a political or religious view that the government disagrees with and they decide to force you in compliance by turning off your electrical power, having a way to get water out of a well is an important thing to consider. And so you can always, get lots of tanks and store the water for use during a short, maybe a week-long or 3 or 4 day power outages, so you won't have to worry about, pumping water. So that's something that you may want to consider, but that isn't really a good long-term solution in case, you know, they do shut off your power for some reason, or because they don't like you, or you're doing something they disagree with. So having something for the future where you can continue to get water out of a well, so you don't have to go to the creek all the time or a river. Sometimes those access to rivers can be, you know, restricted as well, and so you may not be able to get to them even though they may be nearby. You know, having a filtration system is another good backup in case that pump fails for some reason, or you know, you can't access it, or something happens with it, you get a leak or who knows what. Having a backup is always a good idea, where you could go to a stream and filter the water and get it in something that's potable. So anyway, just want to encourage you to think about your future. You can start with a, you know, couple $100 water filter as just kind of, well, this is what I can afford now, and then as you can save up for a well pump to go in that direction, and then you can maybe add some tanks just for more convenience, and also maybe for watering your garden to have those filled that then you can use to run your sprinklers with to give a little water pressure without having to be out there pumping the whole time. So just to think about some different things you can do, and maybe even have some just 55-gallon barrels of water hanging around if you can't afford a big tank. So, all right, God bless, and I will see you on the next video.